Good afternoon. I want to talk to you about continuous improvement for Frontenac schools, USD 249. So starting off, a little bit about who we are. Frontenac, Kansas is about 3,400 people. We're located in southeast Kansas and butted up against Pittsburgh, Kansas, which has a lot of diversity from the university that is housed there. Inside of Frontenac, we have nearly 1,400 homes that are occupied with an average age of roughly 40 years old. The average household size is 2, and our population is roughly 95% white. As a district, we are a single building that houses the 3 schools. We've got 4-year-old pre-K up through 12th grade. We have roughly 935 students, 4 administrators, 82 teachers, with 97% of those being fully licensed. If you look at our graph, you can tell most of our population is white, with a very limited population of African Americans, Hispanics, as well as some multiracial students. Our male versus female ratio, we're pretty close to 50% of each. We do fluctuate a little bit, however, fairly equal in those representations. And then if you look at our students with disabilities, we stay right around that 10% mark of our students who are actually labeled as having a disability. We do have a growing ELL population. This year, I believe we're up to 21 students. However, this is definitely an area that is a learning curve for us as we are working to meet the needs of this unique population, because the majority of our students are English speaking. And then if you look at our economically disadvantaged, as you can see, that is a population that is continuing to decline, and we've fallen roughly 6% over the last 4 years. How we do business on a daily basis, we have a district leadership team, which is composed of the 4 administrators and myself as curriculum coordinator and testing coordinator. We have building leadership teams. Those meet roughly once a month. Sometimes that tends to fall down closer to once a quarter, but ideally that's once a month. At the high school, we have an academic cabinet, which is composed of teachers who work very closely with the site council. Each of the buildings has a site council. The elementary level, students are broken into houses, and they stay within those houses throughout their stay in the elementary school. And then at the junior and senior high, we have student council groups that also work very closely with the site council as well as the academic council to present ideas and kind of funnel those from the general population to the leadership. And then we also work to incorporate parent community surveys, various community service projects, and we are continuing to grow our job shadowing opportunities for students. Attendance rates are fairly consistent, around 92%, which is actually a little bit of a decline from 2017. But overall, we do have a fairly good attendance rate, and graduation rates for 2018 was at 98.4%. So again, overall, a very successful graduation rate we feel for our student body. Just a little bit more about our district and what it looks like. At the junior and senior high, we are on a 90-minute block schedule with a daily advisory period. At the junior high level, those advisories do change annually. However, at the high school level, students are placed with a teacher, and they remain with that teacher for all 4 years. The Board of Education has worked very hard to ensure that class sizes are maintained at 20 or less students. We're offering various pathways for students, whether that be technical pathways such as HVAC, welding, construction, and then we also offer advanced placement courses and college credit courses on campus for those college-bound students. We do have a very heavy focus on ACT. Many of our board goals are actually written around ACT success. So a lot of times we tend to focus more on that than the state assessment. In general, Frontenac has a lot of strong traditions that the teachers, the staff, the students work very hard to maintain those traditions. I feel like overall we do a really good job of meeting the needs of the whole student. Over the last 3 years, we've seen the role of the school counselor greatly change as they work to meet more counseling needs rather than merely focusing on things such as scheduling and testing. Those types of tasks have seemed to be reassigned so that there could be more focus on the social emotional needs of the students. And additionally, we do have strong community ties, whether that be reaching out to other organizations to ensure that we're meeting the needs of the whole student and the family as well, or just making sure that we're getting students out into the community and representing the school in the different community activities. In our elementary, we have the house system for grades pre-K through 5. This offers a great opportunity for students to connect with teachers and classmates at other grade levels throughout the duration of their elementary enrollment. We also do monthly data collaboration meetings at the elementary level. The principal, counselor, SPED teacher, the math and the reading title teacher, myself as curriculum and testing coordinator, meet with the grade level team. We look at data, work to make database decisions for student placement, as well as interventions that would be beneficial to various students. Weekly, teachers have a collaborative plan time where they meet with their team. At this point, they work to make sure that curriculum is horizontally aligned, that they are moving at roughly the same speed through different things, collaborate on strategies that are working well as issues with specific students and ways to connect with that student in a more personal way. There is a strong focus on student relationships throughout the district. In the elementary, we do have leveled reading and intervention groups that are flexible and continue to change throughout the year. There is an ample amount of community and parent support. When I first came to Frontenac, I think that was one of the areas that really just blew my mind as to how involved these parents and community members truly were. And more so probably than the other buildings, I feel like our elementary school is very open to trying new things if it's best for kids. So looking at where we are now, one of the big things, especially as the testing coordinator, I'm looking at that 75% mark that we need to get to. And so right now, when I think of where we are, I'm thinking of academic proficiency. So right now we're at roughly 37% of students who are academically proficient, scoring at that level 3 and 4 on the state assessment. Looking through our subgroups, we do have some. For instance, the students with disabilities is only at 22 percentile. Free lunch is only at 21%. So we do have some areas where we need to continue to strive to make even greater gains. But as a whole, all students, we have quite a bit of work ahead of us to make those improvements. Looking at our math performance for our district compared to the state, we're fairly close to where the state was, which is a little more reassuring. When I look at our level ones, we have a little bit smaller group in that level one than what the state had. So again, that helps to encourage us to keep continuing what we're doing as well as putting new interventions into place. Similarly, for ELA, we're very close to where the state was. Our level 3 and 4 was slightly larger than what the state was in 2017. However, still quite a bit of work to get done as we continue to move forward. Looking at our post-secondary success, this is something that when this first came out, we were in the top 6 in the state, and we were very proud of how effective, as the state had described it, our district was considered. We were probably about 4 years ago. The expectation for most every student at Frontenac was that you would graduate and you would go to college. So this is something that has been pushed very hard from the top down. We are just now kind of opening our eyes to other pathways for students and trying to inform parents of those other options that are out there for the students to pursue. So it's really not surprising to us when we look at our graduation rate, our 5-year success rate. So 67% is fairly close to that 70 to 75 that we are shooting for in the future. So when we look at where we want to be, I came back to our district goals. Diverse curriculum. We want to balanced budget, sound financial practices. We want to make sure that we're implementing strategies to have high success rates on the state assessment, on the ACT. We want to make sure that we're integrating technology. We currently are one-to-one kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade, so that's been a great thing for all of our students. We want to make sure we have a facilities plan. We're currently in the process of moving forward with a building project that will give us storm shelters, which will then also add classrooms for us. We want to develop a technology plan where we're going to make sure not only do we have the technology in the hands of the teachers and students, but we're also training them and supporting them as they learn to use it effectively. At the highest level of achievement in academics, activities, and athletics, we really strive to ensure that we are creating a well-rounded student who will then go out and be a well-rounded citizen and employee in the future. And we want to make sure that we're hiring and retaining those quality teachers and not accepting anything less from our staff members. So I feel like there's a lot of our goals that we're already there. Those goals are actually from 2014. So it's about time for us to look at new goals. So right now I feel like our how we get there is more just continued of what we are doing. We want to make sure that we're improving communication between the staff, from staff to parents, from staff to students, from the parents and students back to the school and the staff. And we want to make sure that we're focusing on an aligned curriculum, both horizontally and vertically, ensuring that the standards are being taught at the depth that they should be taught, and that we're allowing students the opportunity to demonstrate that learning in a variety of ways. Pre-K-8 will actually begin the redesign process in the next academic year. So we're very excited about where that's going to take us and how that's going to push us out of our comfort zones a little bit more and strive to provide the students the best learning opportunities as we move through that process. We want to make sure that we're continuing to diversify those pathways that we're offering students. We're looking at adding ENT, fire, and culinary options for students for next year. And we're very excited to see some students take advantage of those programs. We want to make sure that we are increasing those opportunities and those expectations for high student performance and academic success, as well as areas to improve soft skills as we continue to push for job shadowing, for some apprenticeships, as well as just opportunities to develop life skills for our students. And then finally, we want to continue to push our educators outside of their comfort zones. And we have great teachers who do great things, but we want to make sure that we do not become complacent with where we're at, but continue to strive for continuous improvement.